In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Marianne's guests are leaders in their field, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in their own work. They teach others to develop, refocus, and grow. Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. And remember, make every moment count.
Welcome to Moments with Marianne. Today, my very special guest is Arielle Ford. Arielle has mastered the art of making things happen. A nationally recognized publicist and marketing expert, producer, author, and consultant, she has catapulted many authors and celebrities to stardom. As former president and founder of the Ford Group, a very successful public relations and marketing firm, she helped launch the careers of Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, and Mark Victor Hansen, authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and Neil Donald Walsh, author of Conversations with God. She also handled publicity for a myriad of best-selling authors including Wayne Dyer, Debbie Ford, Marianne Williamson, Louise Hayes, Don Miguel Ruiz, and many others. Arielle led the way, and 11 of these authors became New York Times bestsellers. International best-selling author and relationship expert, Arielle introduces a groundbreaking new book that gives you 16 simple, easy, and fun ways to reignite love, passion, and respect, as well as a renewed commitment to your relationship, no matter how many years it's been since you first fell in love. Her new book, Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, hands you the keys to be able to create the same kind of lifelong love Arielle has with her soulmate, Brian. Welcome to the show, Arielle.
Thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Well, how exciting it is to have you on the show, considering your book was just released yesterday.
I know. Thanks so much for talking to me about it. I'm super excited.
Oh, it looks to be very exciting. You know, I've read some of your other books, and they all are, they really do shift perspectives. And so I can imagine that this book is going to do the exact same thing.
Well, that's the intention. So from your mouth to God's ears.
So, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your new soon-to-become bestseller?
Well, it's called Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, a practical guide to happily ever after. And I wrote this book specifically for women that are either already in a relationship or plan to be in one someday, because there's so many myths out there about what a soulmate is and what love is. And the one that gets people in the most amount of trouble is they think, oh, once I'm with my soulmate, everything's going to be really easy and peachy, and we're going to live happily ever after. And I really believe that happily ever after are the three most dangerous words in the English language for women, because there is no such thing. I mean, the truth is that when you're with your soulmate, you're going to have amazing, extraordinary experiences with them, but you're also going to have days when you don't like them very much.
There's
no They're going to get on your nerves.
Yeah.
They're going to frustrate you and disappoint you, and it's not always going to be easy. But people live in this sort of crazy idea that, well, if he's really my soulmate, he'll just naturally know how to make me happy, and we won't have to work at it. And so this is the reason I wrote the book. This is the book I wish somebody had given me on the day that I got married.
Oh, my goodness. Well, and it's true, because I think, you know, for many of us women, you know, growing up, I mean, Disney's kind of switching it around a little bit now, so they're trying to get it better. But I mean, a lot of us growing up would watch the Disney movies where Prince Charming comes and takes us away, we live happily ever after, and no problems. And that's really not the case. I mean, it's really working through those everyday challenges.
Well, you know, I host an online series called The Art of Love, and over the last 5 years, I've done 130 hours of interviews with the world's leading love and marriage researchers and experts. Mm-hmm. So this book is really a compilation of all the best cutting-edge information out there. And one of the most shocking things that I discovered along the way is from the research of Dr. John Gottman, who's at the University of Washington. And what he discovered is that every couple, not just some couples, but every couple has a minimum of 9 irreconcilable differences. 9. These are things
9
on which you are never, ever going to agree on. Now, does that mean you can't be happy? No, it doesn't. But what it does mean is that you have to, first and foremost, learn to love and respect each other's opinions and points of view and different ways of being, and you have to get really good at communication skills. And most of us did not grow up in the ideal home with parents who totally were loving and devoted to each other and knew how to communicate their needs in a way that the needs got met. So that's what I do in this book. I actually give you real scripts on how to talk to your mate, how to ask for what you most need in a desire in a way that they can hear you. Because a lot of women think, well, I tell him all the time what I need to be happy, but he never does it. But what they don't understand is that when they say it in a way that's bitching, moaning, complaining, whining, shaming, or blaming, they get tuned out. Nobody's going to give you what you want when you're got that tone of voice, or you're acting like their mother, or you're trying to boss them around. So there are ways to actually ask for what you need in such a way that he can't wait to make you happy.
Oh, and that's fabulous because, especially the communication piece. I think a lot of people forget to touch on how important it is. It's the way you communicate, like how you were saying, not this, acting like somebody's mother and the nagging. I mean, anybody would tune anybody that does that out.
Yeah, and the other thing a lot of women don't actually know about men is that there's something they want even more than sex. Okay? And this is the thing. Men want respect and admiration more than sex.
Now that's pretty impressive, consider, you hear people sometimes talk saying that that's the number one thing, but how refreshing to know that that's not, No,
it really isn't. They want to be respected and admired. So, learning how to acknowledge them every single day will get you so much further, and if there's something simple, let's say you want your husband to take out the trash every Sunday night, right? And you find yourself always having to harp on him to do it and remind him to do it, and he doesn't ever seem to just do it on his own. Here's how you get him how to do it. It's so easy. You start by just going over and sitting on his lap or giving him a hug and just say, have I told you lately what an amazing husband you are? Have I told you how proud I am to be your wife? And how much I admire the way that you helped little Johnny last night with his homework and the way you were taking Betsy out to learn how to ride a bike. You are just the greatest. And, by the way, I know taking the trash out isn't a lot of fun for you, but when you do it, it just makes me so happy because I just can't stand to put my hands on that stinky, smelly garbage. And when you do that for me, you become my hero.
Oh, and what a perfect way to address any kind of situation, but the trash, that's a good one.
Yeah, but
because that's like the argument.
Anything.
Yeah.
All you have to do is give them some appreciation, give them some acknowledgement, and explain to them why you need them to do it for you. Of course you could do it yourself, but if you explain to him, I just can't stand the smell of it, I can't stand to put my hands on it, and you're the man, you're so strong and manly, I just know that you could take this out for me, and then I could feel like a queen. Because he wants to win, so you have to set him up to win. And when you're yelling at him or nagging or bitching and moaning, he's losing, he's not winning. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I mean, it's just the way people would like to be treated, anyway, for the most part. But I mean, to be able to communicate with men in that way, to have them really, work with you, I mean, what a phenomenal way of just shifting perspective and being able to address like common issues, because you hear people arguing about as something as basic as taking out the trash, you know.
Oh yeah, no, it's the little things, but they all add up,
mm-hmm.
you know. And here's another reason why you really want to turn your mate into your soulmate. If you once loved them, chances are all that love is still there inside of you. It's just covered up by a lot of different frustrations and annoyances. So if you work through the 16 exercises I have in this book, you can totally kickstart and reignite and get your relationship back on track. And the reason you want to do this is because everybody's heard that 50% of first marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
But what most people don't know is that 64% of second marriages and 73% of third marriages end in divorce.
Oh, my.
So you're better off investing a little time and energy into the one that you have than thinking it's just going to be so much easier and the grass is so much greener if you just dump the one you have and move on. Now, the only place where this wouldn't be true and where I would advise you not to read my book is if you're in a relationship that has either abuse or addiction, I can't help you, all right? You need professional counseling. So if there's abuse or addiction, go find a professional. But if it's just I don't think I love him anymore, I don't think he's my soulmate, he once was, but he isn't anymore, it's worth a little time and energy to see if you can turn it around, because chances are, I would say 90% of people can turn it around.
Well, that's good to hear. You know, I've known some people that have kind of stuck through their marriages, and I do mean the word stuck, because it feels like it's like, treachery for them. And, I'm sure this book is really going to help a lot of people kind of refocus and pivot into a direction that they really want their relationship to be in.
Yeah, I talked to a woman last week who had read an early copy of it, and she's a newlywed. She hasn't even been married a year yet. But she said she was so relieved when she read the book to find out that a lot of the thoughts and feelings she was having on the days that she was annoyed with her new husband, she discovered are normal. Because, that's the other thing that happens. We think it's only happening to us in our relationships when, having ups and downs is completely normal. What isn't normal is not knowing how to deal with them in an effective way. And that's really what Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate is out there to provide, is really simple and often fun solutions to difficult times.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's absolutely fabulous. Well, and again, like, there's so many people that can use this. I run into people all the time, and either they're having second thoughts or there are massive issues going in the relationship, not in regards to, abuse or drugs, but just there are just, things going on that I think reading this will help them look at things differently, especially since there are 9 things that, men and, husbands and wives typically will not even agree on. So
yeah, but there are ways to get really creative to agree to disagree and still cohabit in a way that serves everybody and still have all that love and affection and devotion and fun.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's absolutely fabulous. Now, I understand that so you've got bonus gifts with your book for people who have ordered your book.
Yeah, if all you have to do is go to the website mate2soulmate.com and just type in your email address and the receipt number, whether you bought it online or in a store. And there's a free 5-part video series where I interviewed people like John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, on how to get your desires met. I interviewed sex researcher Dr. Pepper Schwartz on how sex can save your life. And I also interviewed Jan Van Zant on how to make a proper apology. So there's 5 of those videos. There's 2-hour-long audios. And then there's a free ebook. So there's lots of goodies once you buy the book.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, and and really, there's so much information there. My goodness, I mean, people will be able to pick up your book regardless where they are in their relationship, and be able to pivot and make the changes that they want to make and start looking at their partner in a different way. instead of the person that annoys me.
It's about a shift in perception. It's really about looking at it from a new place because, so often people don't even really understand what love is. They think that love is a feeling. And if they're not having the feeling, then they think they don't love the person anymore. But it's so much deeper and richer than that. Love is a behavior. It's a decision. It's a choice. It's a commitment. So even on the days when you don't like your mate very much, you can still choose to love them.
Well, and why don't you expand a little bit on love as a behavior for our listeners so they, grasp a little bit more of an understanding of that?
Yeah, so, you could be, let's say you have a kid, right? And your kid does something that really upsets you or makes a mess of stuff. In that moment, you don't like them very much, but you're not going to beat them. You're still going to feed them dinner and give them a bath and make sure they get sleep and get their homework done. That's what I mean by love as a behavior. You're choosing to be a mature, responsible adult in spite of whatever feelings you're having. So that's the difference between love as a feeling and love as a behavior.
And that,
you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. You're going to give them a second chance. You're going to love them unconditionally, and you may set new boundaries.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And a lot of times, I'm just thinking of the people that I've come across along my path. Sometimes people don't even understand boundaries and that there are boundaries in relationships. It's more than what separates us between, the U.S. between Canada and Mexico. It's, there are actual boundaries in relationships and
it's just like when you need to forgive somebody. You may not forget what they did, but eventually you need to forgive and let go.
Oh, for sure.
And you want to become an expert at both asking for forgiveness and granting forgiveness when you're in a marriage. Because people do stuff all the time where it's not, they don't intend to upset you. Like nobody, your husband or boyfriend didn't wake up this morning thinking, how can I make Marianne miserable today? Nobody thinks like that. And yet they could inadvertently do or say something that could be very hurtful or very upsetting. And rather than yell and scream or give the cold shoulder, you could simply say, honey, I'm sure you didn't mean to hurt me when you said A, B, and C, but I ended up feeling X, Y, and Z, and I just needed to let you know that. Which is a lot different than you're such a jerk. Which you might have been thinking, but you don't need to say.
Well, it allows... the way that you're explaining it allows room for discussion as opposed to shutting down the conversation. It's instead of saying, hey, you're such a jerk, I can't believe you did this, how you explained about how this hurts my feelings and what you did. And I think that that's a really, it's a great way for people to approach issues, regardless if it's a person that they're in a relationship, such as a soulmate, or just, people along their path as well. So that really, this is really translatable information that I think will help a lot of people along their journey, regardless.
Yeah. Well, and those are the skills that we all need that we don't have. When I first got married, I did a great job of manifesting a soulmate. I mean, just remarkable 18 years ago. And my book, The Soulmate Secret, gives the whole formula for that. But when I got married, what I quickly discovered was that I was a lousy wife. I had zero partnership skills. I did not know how to be in a healthy relationship.
They just didn't teach us that in school,
No, somebody skipped that completely. And we all say that our relationships are the most important things in our lives, but how much time and energy do we really give to becoming what I like to call a student of love, right?
Ooh,
Learning
that's
how
a good one.
to be a good partner. Yeah, so I just put all the stuff I road tested that worked for me in my own relationship is now in Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate.
Well, and we definitely greatly appreciate having you on the show, and we don't want you to give everything away here because, my goodness, it's a book that everyone wants to go out and purchase and definitely just dive into, regardless if you're married or dating. I'm single. I don't care. I'm buying this book. I just love everything about it. So
well, that's a smart thing to do. So you'll be all ready when he shows up. You're going to know what to do and what to say.
Yeah, I'll be armed and prepared, and won't make many mistakes that I've made in the past. So, which is always a good thing, So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I greatly appreciate all of your time, and for our listeners out there, I want to thank you for tuning in. And you can reach Arielle Ford on her website as well as arielleford.com. And make sure you purchase the book and, sign up for the free bonus gift that she has available. So thank you again, Arielle. So greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. It's great talking to you, Marianne.
Well, thank you, Arielle. What a joy it was having you on the show today. I want to thank you so much for your time. And for our listeners, you definitely want to stay put. We have Kerri Zane, single mom expert, Huffington Post contributor, and Emmy Award-winning TV producers coming up next. So stay tuned.
Are you dreading your next business trip with all of the unhealthy food choices? Well, eating healthy while on the road for business is no longer a hopeless battle. Natasha Leger, a road warrior herself, not a doctor, dietitian, or nutritionist, but a real-life business person, understands the unique stresses of business travel and has written a book to inspire us and show us how easy it is to make healthy choices while on the road. Order Travel Healthy, a road warrior's guide to eating healthy at TravelHealthyBook.com. That's TravelHealthyBook.com.
Ben Wexler is a gifted leadership development and strategy consultant for professionals who want to transform their organizations and careers. Through a uniquely personalized set of processes, participants discover their unique knowledge, how to leverage that knowledge and experience, and then put it all together with a global strategy. You're more valuable, your organization is more valuable, and the change is viral. Contact Ben at 630-881-1074. 630-881-1074.
In 2012, after returning home from Iraq and Afghanistan, Sean Gobin hiked over 2,000 miles of the Appalachian Trail. Recognizing the therapeutic effects of long-distance hiking, Sean founded Warrior Expeditions, a veteran nonprofit therapy program that supports veterans transitioning from their military service by hiking America's national scenic trails. Equipment and supplies are provided, as well as assistance with job placement. For more info or to help support these veterans, visit warriorexpeditions.org.
Are you stuck in your creative process and hitting a roadblock at every turn? Book an appointment with creativity coach Katie Fowler to turn your art and life around. Katie is an award-winning artist, highly sought-after creativity coach, speaker, TV personality, and best-selling author of An Artist's Journey Through Wonderland. Katie guides people in connecting with themselves, with others, and with their own passions. Go to katiefowler.net now to begin your journey through your creative wonderland.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. For this next half hour, we have a very exciting guest, Kerri Zane. She is an Emmy Award-winning TV executive producer, single mom, lifestyle expert, keynote speaker, spokesperson, Huffington Post contributor, and author of the Amazon best-selling book, It Takes All Five. Kerri's been on numerous shows across the country, The Wendy Williams Show, Fox, Huffington Post Live, KTLA Morning Show in LA, The Lisa Oz Show, and Live on the Couch. Kerri has been featured in many magazines and online at Ebony, O Magazine, People, All Parents, Redbook, AOL News, Desert News, She Knows, Match.com, just to name a few. And Kerri's also a blogger for Huffington Post, Modern Mom, her blog, and is a family travel expert for Peter Greenberg Worldwide Online. So welcome to the show, Kerri.
I'm happy to be here and happy to help.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, let's talk a little bit about your book, It Takes All Five, A Single Mom's Guide to Finding the Real One. Why don't you talk about that a little bit and just, what prompted you to write the book? It's got such great information. There's so many people that can really benefit from purchasing this book.
Well, I'll tell you, my motivation was having gone through a divorce myself a number of years ago and looking out in the space, and there wasn't really anything out there for me to support me. And when you're going through the process, even though there are 10 million single mothers in the United States, you feel very alone, and there's a lot of fear around it. There's a lot of unknown. And so the book was an opportunity for me to reach out to other single mothers who are going through the process and supporting them in a way I wish I had been better supported.
Okay. And does that include through their dating process, through parenting? It just covers all fields there?
Yes, it does. So the book is actually broken down into 3 parts. So the first part is about healing the inside, so like managing the grief and how to reevaluate yourself. Now you're in a different place in your life. You have different elements in your life. You get those, children that you have to take care of. The second part is healing the outside. So what do you need to do in terms of work-life balance and taking care of your body, how you look. And then the third part is now once you fix the inside and the outside, how do you move on and find a new relationship that's perfect for you where you are now in your life?
Okay. And so, and I know you use the 5-finger philosophy as your, as part of the whole book's basis. And so it really helps people, women in particular, to embrace, like how you're saying, the physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, and I believe sexual as well. You can't forget all those parts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really detailed, so someone can pick it up and they can go to any page, and it really can help them at any point in their journey.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And I think you can do it in any order that you like. And there's such good material in there. I don't know if you mentioned, but I spent 2 years at the University of Santa Monica, and I got a degree in spiritual psychology. So a lot of the techniques and strategies that I learned in my program, I've incorporated into the book and kind of made them a little simpler to understand. So you people out there don't have to go through the 2-year program to get the good, juicy stuff that it's like,
you
it's
can
all
get the
really
book.
easy to understand. Yeah, exactly. Just pick up the book.
It's like the Cliff Note version of 2 years of work there.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
Yeah, and I know that when you do your writings and you're all around the country speaking, it's really to helping single moms find their empowerment and inspiration. And one of the topics that you talk about that I've always really appreciated is the parent workplace balance. It's like how does someone even do that? Especially now, we're in the holiday season, things get really crazy. What advice would you give to single moms at this point?
The number one magical gift that I can share with everybody is to engage your village. So, in single mom world, we talk about that a lot. And for those of you who don't know who your village is, it is the group of people that you surround yourself with who can help and support you when you don't have a spouse. So whether that's your parents or your siblings or it's friends, if you have other single mom friends that you can rally around each other and help each other, my suggestion is that you find three others, so you have a rotating of 4. That way, you can spread, like kids can stay together, and then you can have time to, do the things that you need to do every week, 4 weeks in a month. And if you don't have those resources, there are resources online that you can find, either through a meetup situation or there's a website that I love and very supportive of called mommeetmom.com, which isn't necessarily entirely for single mothers, but there are a lot of single mothers out there, and they call themselves kind of like a dating site for moms, so you can find other like-minded mothers in your community on the site and connect with them. So that's another way to build and then engage your village to help and support you.
Well, and that's so important, it doesn't, because a lot of people, they either, they don't really have like family units that are around them. So friends and reaching out to other moms would be such a great resource to kind of just help with that, help develop the village, because it does take a village, especially, if you're a single mom, you do need that additional, just that support. I mean, kids are so amazing that we just want to make sure that we do everything we can to support them as much as possible through their growing years. So,
right.
Yeah, I know you offer a lot of different courses that people can take online. So for if they're getting stuck, like how to move on through their grief. And why don't you talk a little bit more about your courses, because I know that they've been a huge benefit to a lot of different women that have reached out to you.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. If you go to my website, which is kerrizane.com, there's an online course page that you can look through, and if you're interested, sign up. But the book was kind of the starter for single mothers, and for anyone who wants to take a deeper dive into healing and learning more about the work-life balance and moving through the grief, and so there's MP3s that you can listen to, and they're designed for single mothers, so they're designed to work when you have the time and space. So if you're driving your kids to a soccer game and you're waiting for them, and you can listen to the MP3s, and then there are companion workbooks that you can work on when you have the time and space, and they're really great, solid pieces of help. So even down to, how do you protect your home? What are all the elements you need in your home? And we go through room by room, so, you can document everything that you have. If you're moving through a divorce and you need help with finances, or you've already been through your divorce and you're not sure what to do with the little chunk of money that you may have gotten, or, or maybe you've gotten nothing and you need to start fresh. So there are all those kinds of courses that are designed specifically for single mothers where they are in their life right now at that moment.
Well, and that doesn't mean just single mothers through divorce or, just single parenting. It can also mean if someone has lost a husband or lost a loved one, that now they find themselves in a position where they're doing the single parenting by themselves. And it's like, I know you've got a resource for that as well on your website.
Exactly.
Well, and it's good because you touch all bases. So if anyone needs help in any one situation, it makes it really easy for them to be able to reach out and really listen to the different courses that you have. So
yeah, and the truth is, I think, I'm sorry, but different. There's different levels of single motherhood, which is interesting because there's, like you said, there's widows, and they have a different set of situations and circumstances that they need to address in a different way than a divorced single mom. And then there are single moms by choice who, again, have a different set of circumstances and issues. So there's a lot of similarities, but then there are also some differences, and all of those addressed in the online courses.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so one of the things I also want to touch on with the holidays coming up, and maybe there's some single moms or even just women out there who maybe haven't dated in a while and they're thinking about getting back into dating. What is some of the best advice you can give them?
It's interesting because I think that people think that during the holidays, if you don't have a partner, it's a horrible time to be a single person. But the truth is, it's a fabulous time to be a single person. Because all those party invitations that you get, and you don't have your plus one, awesome. Because I guarantee you, there's a single guy at that party who also doesn't have a plus one. And if there isn't, there's a whole group of people who know single guys who are going to want to fix you up. So, go get all dressed up, go to those parties, work the room, meet everybody that you can, let them, talk yourself up. Here I am. I'm just out of a situation. I'm looking for a new relationship. Hey, you know anybody? So
have people be advocates for you, Yeah.
So I think the holiday season is great mining time.
Mhm. Well, to be able to get out there, meet new people, and just see where things go. Well, and I know
don't hunker down. I mean, it's time to shine. You get to wear pretty dresses when you go to these parties. Come on.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's all the fun there,
Exactly.
Get to do that. Well, and I know with dating, just to keep things in perspective, I know that you have some, I wouldn't call them rules. They're more like like guidelines with, hey, if you're going to date, these are some of the things I suggest. And why don't you share that with our listeners so that they can get a good understanding? Because I really like this approach.
Yeah. So you're talking about during the holidays?
Yes.
Or any time. Well, yes, during the holidays, if you have met somebody who's new in your life, certainly spend some time with them during the holiday, and it's wonderful. And, when you have custody situations, you do tend to have time where you normally would be a family that you don't, and so it's a beautiful time to spend it with somebody new. But if they're really fresh in your world, you may not want to include them in your family get-togethers right now. Especially if your split is fresh, your kids, want to know that life is focused around them. I mean, they want to know that all the time anyway. Yeah. And by the way, it doesn't matter how old they are, 4 or 44, they still want to be in the center of your universe. But especially during the holidays, because they have been. And so it's not the right time to bring somebody brand new into the mix. I would wait until after the new year,
and then see how things go after the new year. And as far as when it's okay to start introducing somebody to your children or your family. Usually that waits a little bit until you get to really know them, or is that something that happens pretty quickly?
Yeah, I have a rule of thumb for people, and I usually, it's somewhere between 3 and 6 months, I say, is a safe bet to introduce somebody to your children. And I say that because if you introduce them too soon and the relationship doesn't work out, it's not good if your kids get attached to that person. And you don't want them to see you having a revolving door of relationships. But if you wait too long, your kids know that you're dating, even if you think that you're sneaking around. You're not. They know. They see you get dressed up. They see you put makeup on at grandma's house, like that. But then it becomes a lie. It's like you're hiding something from them, or you're lying to them when you're going out, and that's not a good precedent to set either.
Yeah, you want to have those honest, open relationships. And it's a two-way street. They expect to have that as well, with what's going on with you. And then you get to set the example, the good example of how to date properly when, when that does come up.
Yeah, and by the way, there are a lot of people who say, oh, I'm not going to date until my kids are 18, or, I will,
I've heard that a lot.
or, I'm going to wait a year. And it's, the truth is that puts a lot of pressure on your kids. Believe it or not, they feel like they need to be your entertainment or the center of your universe, and that's not healthy. If they know that mom is spending time with other adults and having adult relationships, it takes the pressure off of them, and it's a good role modeling for them. They get to play with their friends, and quote unquote, you get to play with your friends. So
you get to have
it's
that
actually
time.
better for them.
Yeah. And then there's not that like you're saying, that pressure or that expectation that they're going to be you like you're saying, like your entertainment, your best buddy, all those things. I mean, your children can be your best buddy, but I'm sure there's boundaries there.
Yeah, they can't be your world. You don't want them to be your world, and they don't want you to be you. You need. Yes, it's important. It's paramount that they come first. But life cannot completely revolve around them. So, yeah.
Well, okay. So now, let's say it's after the holidays, and I'm thinking about getting into dating. What kind of rules do you have? Not so much rules, but like guidelines. If I'm trying to get back out into the dating world and just testing the waters there.
If you've not been out in the dating world for quite some time, then the first thing you need to do is you need to take care of yourself and do whatever it is that you need to do so that you feel confident and sexy and sassy and good. So if that's getting a haircut, if that's going to the MAC counter and getting a makeover, if that's losing 5 pounds or just buying some new lingerie, go do that. Take care of yourself that way. And then, try all the avenues. I find, people poo-poo dating apps and online dating, and it's really the best way to meet people. And you'll meet a whole bunch of people, and I suggest you do, safely, of course, meet a bunch of people, because that's the only way that you're going to learn what you like and what you don't like. And like I said, dating in your 20s before you have kids or 30s before you have kids is a completely different story than after you have children. Your needs are different, your wants are different, your sensibility is different, and you kind of have to, kind of suss that out and see what feels comfortable for you.
Well, yeah, and, you're not expecting to meet somebody in a bar or on a beach somewhere. Although that's not a bad place either if you're, going to meet a date there. But it's a real different perspective. You're looking for someone probably with a little bit more stability. Now, I've heard you talk before about go on, I think it was like 100 dates and not take a second date.
Yes.
And so what's the whole purpose behind doing that?
It's kind of that notion of really getting to know yourself and what your wants and needs are. So there's a couple of things I talk about in terms of just being free and letting yourself do the things that you wouldn't normally do. So one of those was going on 100 dates and not going on a second date, just to see, maybe 100 is too much, but, 50 or, 20, what. No, but definitely, more than, I found one, and now I'm going to try and see if I can make it, this square peg fit into the round hole.
Yeah,
don't do that. Like it's just too stressful, and they're going to feel the energy, and that's like all kind of scary. But I say, if you've never dated a younger man, try that and see how that feels for you. Or if you not gone out with somebody 10 or 15 years older, and you think that's, oh my God, I would never do that, do it. Just try a bunch of different things and really get in touch with your feelings. And, maybe you'll try something and you'll go, wow, I actually kind of like that. I never thought I would, you know?
Yeah, where, maybe it's like, oh, I don't usually go out with guys a little bit older than me, and you do. You actually have an enjoyable conversation, have just great time with that person,
Yeah. I have a girlfriend, a single mom friend of mine who was married to someone her age who, was kind of, he did okay in life, but she was really the breadwinner of the family, and they got divorced a number of years ago for a variety of reasons, and she had an old friend that she had known for many, many years who he's 19 years older than her, and it was a friendship that developed into a romantic relationship, and she's now been with him for over 5 years, and it's something that she never expected, not something that she actually, said, oh, this is what I'm targeting. But they have this beautiful life, and they travel together, and he, he treats her like a princess. She's got a black card.
Well, it sounds like she's, it's just a good fit all the way around. And if she had said, hey, nobody that's older or what have you, she would have she wouldn't have been open to these great opportunities and, been with this gentleman and have this great relationship. So, well, that's so cool. It's so awesome to hear that. I know a few women who are thinking about getting back into the dating world, and so and I'm single myself, so I'm like, okay, I'll check this out. And I know that you have expert advice that helps thousands of women all across the U.S., so I just had to have you on to talk about this.
Oh, I'm so happy to be able to help. That's my goal, is I made a lot of mistakes going through my divorce, and I really don't want anyone to do, some things I did great, but a lot of things I did wrong, and I hope that people can learn from me and not have to make the emotional and devastatingly financial mistakes that I did.
Yeah, well, and I think also when you wrote your book, there wasn't a whole lot of resources that are so varied, like what you have on your website with the book itself. And so it really is a great resource and a great tool. I've found it to be just instrumental. And you don't have to be a single mom to have the book and read it. It's really helpful for any woman who's looking to getting back into dating, and just just the whole process around that. So, well, why don't we? I definitely want to share with our listeners a little bit more about your website. I know you've got your online courses, and you do speaking all across the country, and they can visit your website at kerrizane.com. And you're also a Huffington Post contributor, and so they definitely want to check that out and see you on check out your articles on Huffington Post. Now, you're also doing Single Mom TV?
Yeah, on the website there are some videos that you can check out that have also a lot of the information that we talked about today, and a lot more information. So if you don't have time to sit and read the blog and you want a quick little soundbite, you can check that out.
Well, I think one of my favorite videos that you have is the relationship bucket list. So
yeah.
That is a fun one. So if for our listeners, you definitely want to check that out, and it's just like definitely a fun, and it makes sense, about your relationship bucket list. So definitely want to check that out and learn a little bit more about that. I highly advise signing up for Kerri's newsletter, and I know she does some amazing things throughout the month that you want to be apprised of. So, well, Kerri, thank you so much. I'm, so grateful to have you on the show. Is there anything that is coming up that we should be aware of, or just signing up for the newsletter right now will probably be the best thing, because I know the holidays are kind of crazy for everybody.
Yeah, the holidays are nuts. Signing up for the newsletter would be great. I am getting ready in January. We're going to do a 5-day work-life balance challenge, and I invite everybody to participate in that. And if you sign up for the newsletter, then you'll know when that's happening. And, of course, I also love always giving back. And so with this challenge, there's, cash and prizes, well, gifts and prizes. So,
Yeah, you're always doing something fun on your website, and I see it on Facebook. So, definitely want, people want to sign up for that and just stay tuned. But sign me up. I'll be checking out that in January for sure. It sounds like lots of fun. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We just, again, greatly appreciate you and taking the time to be here with us. And, again, you can visit Kerri Zane's website. It's KerriZane.com.
I'd like to thank both Arielle Ford and Kerri Zane for being on the show today. What amazing, inspiring women. Make sure to connect with them and learn more about the fabulous work that they do. I'd also like to take this moment and thank all of our listeners as I reflect on this coming year. I hope this new year brings you peace, love, prosperity, and everything that makes your heart sing. I'm deeply grateful for each and every one of you and for all of your support, both last year and the year to come. If you have a special guest that you'd like to hear on the show, please feel free to reach out and contact me at mariannepastana.com. Thank you again, and best wishes for a fabulous new year. And remember, make every moment count.
Join us next time for Moments with Marianne, when host Marianne Pastana brings another inspirational gifted leader to help us grow. Tune in every second Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Moments with Marianne, when the Dream Vision 7 radio network is at 1510 a.m. Boston. Or catch Moments with Marianne every Thursday and Friday at 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. Eastern Time by going to dreamvision7radio.com. To learn how Marianne started her business from the ground up, visit mariannepastana.com. Don't miss this, and remember, make every moment count.